Dynamite Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling. Special event, as you can see, SPD, Cleveland born badass.
To see the height and to see the commitment and to see the drive. We'll see, yours truly, without a signature shade, SPD once again. January recruitment month for them.
I come along in the
Well, you know, actually, I didn't do that. I was thinking
Here's the Dynamite, all three in the flesh.
Have to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Go ahead, SPD. Start the show off with a boom, baby. Go ahead.
Ooh. SPD, baby! Love it, man.
Love to see
Wasn't
it.
an episode of AEW without some Adam Cole. I mean, the guy's been
Gotta
like
have it.
the absolute like kind of Iron Man as of late. And I mean, we're gonna see him live on Friday, and it's gonna be quite the match with the Texas Death Match. But before we even talk about Friday, we got a huge week of wrestling in AEW right now. I mean, we got a killer Dynamite tonight. We got ourselves a live Rampage at a special time, and we got ourselves Battle of the Belts, baby, which still more matches to be announced as well. So a great week of wrestling, as we talked last week on Sunday, because we had to wait because to wrap things up. But we had another great stacked week of wrestling this week. And just looking at the star power on the master match card is pretty incredible stuff. I mean, we were all geeked about, I was talking with Bonds and us three in the group chat just of how like stacked this is. And Tony Khan himself said there's going to be not many segments. It's going to be mostly in-ring stuff, and they might go over, and they did go over a little bit. But man, just looking at the blend of this, it's fun that they do this, these collages, because you can like put these in a scrapbook and flip through Dynamites and be like how different they are. Every single one is so different, and that's what I love.
That is true. That would make a really cool, like if someone did that and published like a book with these graphics, I think people would eat that up. And it would show such a progression of talent on this roster, man.
Right.
Amazing stuff, and really cool to see the blends that Tony Khan and AEW is able to find, the sweet spots. This show going into it, I think a lot of fans were buzzing. You got two titles on the line, and more than that, a really nice different blend of styles. You get to see, what we got. I'll be honest with you, I can't wait to talk about the main event with you. That strong style main event was incredible. You had to see a little like technical wrestling with Red Dragon, old school, Powerhouse with Keith Lee. You got a little bit of everything for wrestling fans. So really good stuff, man. And let's start it out just like AEW did. Let's start it out with a banger. CM Punk. He is quickly established as one of the go-to ace in the holes for AEW. When they want to start off a Dynamite, there are certain acts, we've talked about it. Young Bucks usually are one of those acts. Adam Cole, he gets a big pop whenever he starts off in an episode of Dynamite. But
even though he's a heel,
maybe no other quite like CM Punk. When you hear Cult of Personality, the crowd goes bonkers. And dude, that was one of the coolest moments of this whole match was the dueling CM Punk Cero Mero chants.
CM Punk.
So good, man.
CM Punk.
They were playing the crowd perfectly. You said it best on Twitter. Had the crowd eating out of the palm of their hands, just chewing it up, it
felt baby. Like 5 minutes, but I mean, it was probably only 30 seconds where they're just going Seattle, Mero, CM Punk, Seattle. It must be so cool as a performer to have them just so hooked. All you're doing is just your presence and just your body language and
without even a single move, right? Without even a single move happening, these two guys had the crowd just going crazy,
berserk. And I would have been there too. The
New Orleans crowd was hot tonight, and for good reason, man. This one, before the main event, you and I were talking about this. I was like, man, this could be the SPD chop of the night. This could be the showcase. because anytime Penta is involved in a match, you know that the chops are going to be out. And he and Punk started off the match with some nice chops going back and forth. And it was interesting to see, Punk kind of having that veteran edge to him where he's able to counter a lot of Penta's. Penta likes to go for those submission moves as his go-to, right? I always talk to you about, I love that snapping of the arm is his go-to move. I love that old school Lucha Underground move set that he brings into it. But Punk was playing that cat and mouse game really well tonight. That said, I felt like Penta carried this match. This was, to me, Punk's been in AEW for several months now, dating back to All Out when we were there last summer. And this, more than any match that I've seen him in, I felt like Penta really carried this match. I thought that Penta was great with his pacing. He was able to play off the crowd. And Penta's no stranger to being a heel. Although he entered this match with getting the crowd going crazy, he quickly was able to adapt and recognize that the ebb and flow of this match, the fans wanted to cheer Punk, and he was more than willing to oblige, dabbling in the heel moveset, dabbling into getting in Punk's face. I love when he caught the go to sleep and he gave him the Cerro Mero right in the mug.
It's such a slap in the face when he does that. I love it though.
I love it. He really had no problem getting in his face. I agree with some of the fans out there, and this is why I felt like after Punk went for that top rope move, he tried to play it, and it was a botch. He tried to play it off as part of the story. It was inconsistent at times. He still was able to hit a springboard.
Sure.
Still was able to hit the go to sleep. But I felt like Penta was the one who really stood out in this match for your boy Crayfish. Maybe it was just that I'm the heel of the group, and I love seeing the heelish vibes from Penta. What do you think of this matchup?
I agree. I've been a huge Penta fan, huge Lucha Brothers fan, and anytime Penta stands on his own, he's just so fun to watch. Just the way he carries himself, man. The guy's got charisma, and just he's walking the walk, talking the talk, and I love his in-ring work ethic big time. I think these two guys had great chemistry together in the ring. Obviously the injury or close to injury aside, I think they kept the ball rolling. They still kept the crowd in the palm of their hands.
Both guys total pros, man. I mean, CM Punk has been in the game for a long time, but people don't realize Penta has been too. That guy's a total industry vet, and it showed. They were able to roll with it. That didn't derail the match, and honestly, the crowd, there were a lot of people who were invested even more after what happened where Punk went down with the knee, right?
I mean, I was generally worried. I thought that he did, bust his knee because it was a slip and things happen, whatever. But the fact that CM Punk, the true warrior himself, powered through. As soon as we saw him do that Hurricane Rana and then pick him up on his shoulders, we knew like he was going to have some support on his knee. But I think overall, this was a perfect match to start the show. And some of the people I've seen on Twitter, and we always like to do it, like, how would we book the show, booking the card order? It's always fun. And you look at the MasterCard and you're just like, any way you put it, you're going to have an awesome opener. You're going to have an awesome main event, these matches.
You're right.
And another one of those was the tag team title match.
Yeah.
We'll move on to that one.
You get Jurassic Express coming out. The crowd's going to get off their feet.
And this brings back memories.
Mitch is into it.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
Friday Night Flights and Fights, where we would take those dance breaks, dancing to Jungle Boy's theme song.
Yeah, sure.
And those were the good old days when we were doing the Friday Night Flights and Fights before AEW took over the Friday night from us on Rampage.
I know.
But
they
Jungle
stole
Boy,
the time
Luchasaurus.
slot.
I know.
Yeah.
Finally getting a title defense from them. Their title
you
run
called
has
for
been
it last week.
Up and down in terms of, in-ring stuff, whether it be trios or singles matches. We're seeing Jungle Boy in a singles match with the qualifying match versus Kyle O'Reilly coming up, which I think will be a fantastic one-on-one match. But, they're the champs for a reason. Jurassic Express put on some awesome matches. Their chemistry is spot on. It is, one of the best, you could tell they're a true tag team. and I wish we saw them more. I hope we see them more with keep defending these belts, unless there is some, storylines in works where they're going to drop them. I mean, what we saw at the end of the match, which I'll let you touch on after I get on your take on the match, because that was a special moment as well. But this was a nice high energy. I knew this would be a nice, true wrestling match, and we got that. But I think just, I know the hype of Red Dragon and, where they came from and how much, you like them and their in-ring stuff. I felt like Jurassic Express was just like, to me, just notches above them at this point.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, going into this match, I felt, I've watched Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish go from and JR and the commentary team did a great job highlighting their history in an ROH. Yeah. These guys have gone through the gauntlet of pro wrestling, and they put on some classics in their pro wrestling journey. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think that, the story of this match, and they talked about it. Jim Ross really highlighted it with, Jungle Boy has grown a lot in this period from when we started this show to where we are now. I really was impressed by his energy and the way that he and Luchasaurus pair off of each other. They're really, you got the big man, but he can go. He's not the classic big man. Again, if SPD could have any moveset in AEW, it would be Luchasaurus. I get why. I get why. The guy is impressive as it gets when it comes to a blend of size, strength, and athleticism. And I think that this run, I think Jungle Boy is starting to really find his niche in this team. Right. He's the spark plug. He's the guy who gets it going. And it's also really fascinating in matches like this, again, where Luchasaurus is the one who gets worked over a lot. He's the guy who the other team is targeting, trying to chop down the big man, wear him down. Yeah. We saw Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish going at his knee over and over and over again in this match. And it's wild to see Jungle Boy be the one who gets the hot tag, and he comes in like a ball of fire. And I think that really works. It pivots the typical when you would go in and you would think, okay, they're going to target the smaller guy. They're going to try to keep the big man on the apron. They've flipped that stereotype on its head. And I'm really loving that. I'm really digging that vibe from Jurassic Express. And I agree with you. I think that the champs, I'm happy they retained. I thought that they might lose tonight because Red Dragon, I felt like, was brought in to be a big deal.
Sure.
And I feel like with Adam Cole losing the world championship opportunity that he had, obviously he's getting a rematch. But we don't see him. I don't want to spoil the things, but I don't necessarily see him dethroning Hangman. That's a lot of losses. It's a lot of losses for Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish.
Sure.
And high profile losses in a very short period of time. And it makes you wonder, where are they going to go with those guys? Are they going to self-implode? And if they did, that could be a great story. But I thought that there could have been an upset here. I'm glad that they didn't. Watching this match, I'm glad they didn't. I think there's a lot more to Jurassic Express being champs. And if we get to see a little, you called for it. If FTR, the top guys, 6-star FTR, baby, if they're the ones now coming in and interjecting themselves into this feud, obviously Red Dragon, they were the sore losers after this match, attacking the champs with a chair. And FTR continuing the babyface vibes that you love, coming out. I think that this could be really interesting between three great teams. But man, if we get Jurassic Express versus FTR, dude, the crowd is going to eat that up. No team is hotter than FTR right now.
No one's going to stop them at this point.
I mean, can you imagine if they had 3 sets of tag titles at the
They're
same
going to
time?
need, well, they're going to be the new belt collectors, and they're going to need someone to carry out these belts for them. They're going to have to push them in a shopping cart with all the gold and the weight and all that. So they're going to come out with
I want to see
shopping
it.
cart with all their gold, because if they
A
do get that
wheelbarrow.
title chance, a wheelbarrow of all their title belts. If they get that chance versus Jurassic Express, they're not missing their opportunity. FTR is the top tag team in the world right now. They're riding absolutely high. I think you just keep pushing that over and over and over again. Like I said,
You got me grinning like
you
all
should be
ego
wearing
Ethan
that
Page right now.
FTR
I love
jacket,
it.
loud and proud for that as well. You should be wearing that FTR jacket as well as wearing your Wardlow shirt loud and proud, because before we talk Wardlow, which, is funny because I was literally, I think most people were on the edge of their seat watching this match, because we knew, or we hoped, that we'd see the bigger picture of this, War Dog make an appearance. But, Captain Shawn Dean, we have to salute him. He is 2-0 against MJF. He is undefeated.
Congratulations, Captain.
He is undefeated against the Pinnacle. We salute that. Man, this was a great booking. What they are doing, and you've said it before, and I'm just going to continue to echo it. What are they are doing with MJF and Wardlow is some of the best booking that we have seen in a while. And it is just so powerful, so fun to watch. And the payoff is going to be so huge when it all happens. Man, the match and leading up to the match and him working a zipper, everything, I wanted to see more of the match because I love MJF's in-ring heel work.
He's great.
With Shawn Dean, and Shawn Spears side by side. But the fact that, I was watching the Dynamite with some friends, and someone pointed out, was like, wait, one of the security guards is missing his shirt. And he was like, Wardlow's going to be wearing his shirt. And sure enough,
Brilliant.
I was like, that's a good point. That's a good call out. Some people might have missed that, including I didn't miss that. But the fact that he came around back right in MJF, that was just so great. He was so close. He literally could have just taken his head and squished it like a freaking rotten tomato, but he didn't. And he's going to terrorize him more and more and more, man. This was one of those get out of your seat pop moments of the night.
Truly, this segment could not have been any better than it was. It was absolutely perfect, executed in a way that had all of us, beaming. I'm grinning ear to ear just talking about it. I love me some Wardlow, and they're booking this Wardlow push. I've been wanting this breakout since you and I started this show.
I know.
And they're booking this breakout of Wardlow better than I could have ever dreamed of. It is going to absolute perfection. Kudos to MJF and Shawn Spears for their heel work, for what they're doing. Yeah. They are clearly doing a great job as the antagonists. Their acting is off the charts. MJF's facial expressions, Shawn Spears' ability to kind of be that nuisance in MJF's corner to help him keep between Wardlow and MJF. I love what they're doing. But honest to God, man, you said it. Every time Wardlow's on screen, it feels like you want to just jump off your couch. You just want to get off the chair and scream. The guy has it. The promo backstage after what happened was fantastic. It had the intensity, the anger, the fire that we want to see out of the big man. Can't say enough. This was my segment of the night. This was an absolute home run. And it was another creative step, right? It was a new layer to this story. I love that Captain Shawn Dean is the thorn in MJF's sides, and I kind of really dig that.
Yeah.
But this was a cool way of like the count out, MJF throwing the money, willing to pay 10 times what Tony pays to Bryce, but then offering money to Big Butch. We're seeing this pivot now, where instead of Wardlow being paid to stay at home, now Max realizes that's not going to happen. So
didn't last long.
Let's put Wardlow through the gauntlet. And what better way to start that than putting him against the Butcher? I love what they're doing. This is brilliant storytelling.
It's almost we're going to get you're right, man. It's almost like we're going to get the 5 labors of Jericho, but the 5 labors of Wardlow coming up,
I like
who
that.
else is he going to throw at him? There's not many guys that can go toe to toe. Big Butch is going to be a fun Hoss versus Hoss match. But everyone right now is living in Wardlow's world, and it's just a matter of time before
Tell 'em.
MJF gets kicked off Wardlow's world and he starts to reign tall on it as well. Man,
I can't wait to see him get power bombed. Oh my God, it's going to be great.
After all the stuff that MJF has put us through and put the fans through, when he gets that powerbomb symphony, we're going to be resting easy here at Dynamite Download. That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
The segment was spot on to me, and then the cherry and the gold medal around the neck was that backstage one where he's pushing more security off, grabbing the camera. It was shot so well. And now we have a motive, a true motive. Get me out of my contract. I will stop terrorizing you. Make me all elite. Like, we have that true goal of Wardlow, and that gave it to us tonight and just elevated it even more. It was a home run segment. Talk about maximizing your minutes and segments, because that was not a long match segment.
No.
And it was one of the most powerful of the night, easily.
Nuanced, intelligent, well booked. This was storytelling at its best.
Yeah.
And they couldn't have done it any better. I absolutely loved it. Pivoting to that, I have to say that was a great example of sports entertainment, and there are no better sports entertainers than the Jericho Appreciation Society, man. I know that you are a diehard Jerichoholic, but I have been eating up this version of Chris Jericho. You know that since he's leaned into this ultimate heel vibe, really loving what he's doing here. And obviously, I'm a big Daniel Garcia fan. I love that guy's in-ring work. To see him getting opportunities now that he didn't get to have prior to this. This is really working well for that group.
I could see you rocking one of those leather hats he's got.
No doubt. I could totally pull that off. But Jericho Appreciation Society and Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz, I talked about this on Twitter, man, and I'll say it again. This is such a great pairing of teams, because you have that, and no one saw this video from Eddie Kingston, the promo video leading up to this match. You have to go and seek that out on AEW's social media, because Let's
repost it on our page.
Pure fire, dude. Pure fire. Eddie Kingston has a way of delivering things with an emotion and an intensity that literally give me goosebumps. So you have that no nonsense, that bulldog, street fighter hood mentality. Those guys that are very proud, very powerful, and very strong-willed on the one side. No nonsense baby faces, and then the other side, full of arrogance, full of pomp and circumstance, the private jet, all this stuff. Jericho truly leaning into the larger than life persona. These two sides are so perfectly set against each other.
You're right.
Really, really, really love this story. And although the fans might be bummed by the outcome, it's doing is prolonging that payoff, right? Jericho Appreciation Society had to cheat to win. They busted out Floyd, crack of the back to Kingston, worked out perfectly. I'm all for that, Scoot. Worked out perfectly. And the truth of the matter is, I'm loving seeing these guys continue to just rub the noses of these baby faces in dirt, right? Like I can't get enough of it, and it's gonna make that payoff that much better, man. This has been working like we just talked about. That Wardlow segment was fantastic. This feud has been booked very well. Tell me what you thought, SPD. I mean, you are a Jerichoholic, but you are a babyface, so you got to be a little conflicted.
I am.
Where's your head at with this one?
Hey, Cool Hand Crayfish there with your new name, I see.
I like it.
I am a little conflicted, but I'm all for Team Jericho. As much as Eddie Kingston's, I love his passion. I love, obviously, his promo was fantastic. He could make a match main event worthy caliber, just being the hype worthy, and Santana and Ortiz are some of my top favorite, one of my top favorite tag teams in general.
Everybody loves them.
That being said, yeah, that's right. If I wasn't proud and I want to be powerful. That being said, as the resident babyface and a huge Jericho fan, I'm if I had to pick, I'd pick Jericho. Jericho heel, because he's so fun to watch, and he's elements, heel, babyface. I loved his mind games he was playing. He's flicking off the crowd and being super cocky, trying to make him jump, trying to make him
Yep.
like this.
Yep.
It was so funny. He had me cracking up. And so, man,
much of what Jericho Appreciation Society does just gets me to genuinely laugh. And bravo, because, it's so hard to do comedy well.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are crushing it with their comedy. Like, they are legitimately funny.
You're absolutely right, man. And I think this is far from over, but, numbers game does always take an effect. So I keep thinking, like, I keep my ear or my eye in my corner of my eye. I'm like, who's going to come out and help these guys? Who's going to come out and help these guys? So someone's going to eventually come out there, and it's going to be a battle. I mean, Jericho is the king of stables right now in AEW, Inner Circle, and now the Jericho Appreciation Society. So it's going to be a nice keep another stable war, as we're seeing the Pinnacle kind of dissolve, which is fine. And, we still have, like the Factory, Dark Order and stuff, but the true, like, top dog stables, this would be a stable war, which is always good to have those ones as well.
And there's been a lot of talk about, AEW trademarking Blood and Guts, and that being a sort of a staple, right? We know that there's the 4 key pay-per-views for AEW. Blood and Guts could be something that really breaks through as something we look forward to every year.
Right.
And the way this one has been built up so far, I think this could be a great build for Blood and Guts. I think that this could be an awesome pairing between these two teams. And again, Jericho could go into it bragging he's the ultimate king of Blood and Guts. He's the one who's pulled it off. I don't know. I think that this could be really an interesting stuff. Jericho wants to get revenge, and he could really be the storyteller in that, and leading up to that one.
Las Vegas Strip street fight for Double or Nothing or something like that.
That could be cool. Obviously, there's a lot more meat to the story, and I liked them prolonging it, delaying the payoff with the Babyfaces winning. I liked that. That was good stuff by them.
Great stuff on this. And once again, Babyfaces are falling to the team heel on Dynamite right here. I mean,
baby,
Swerve Strickland versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. But is it really true babyface or heel winning with Ricky Starks in his hometown, or what? Because he was getting quite the pop for sure. Even though everyone was basking in Keith Lee's glory, he was definitely over for sure. But man, I think these two guys pair so well. You got a big guy, small guy, big guy, small guy. And so you get the opportunity to kind of flip flop of, showcasing the power from each big guy, and then have the small guys kind of, well, they're not small, but smaller in compared to Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs, give us their agility and all that. But man, I think, early on, the chemistry with Swerve and Keith Lee is starting to grow more and more and more. I really like it, man. They're doing, nice smooth tags. You had that backflip off of Hobbs's chest, or not Hobbs, excuse me, Lee's chest, which was fantastic to go into commercial. And then you could tell that Starks was feeling the hometown crowd. He did that almost like a Canadian Destroyer DDT, which I've never seen before. I thought was pretty brutal and epic. He's being showboating to the crowd. Starks was definitely, to me, the standout of this match, as he should be. This was a hometown showcase for Starks. Really enjoyed this match. Yeah, I mean, this was a hometown showcase for Starks, and he looked like a superstar in this. But I think all 4 guys looked incredible in this match, and I think that's maybe why you dug it so much. Not really a flaw in the way this was executed. And I felt like it was a little bit of a surprise the way that this ended. Agree. But Taz, we haven't seen him ringside the longest time I can remember. Brian Cage really was around, it feels like. It's been a long time, right? I mean, I think it's been a long time since Taz has really gotten involved in a match. And it worked. I mean, because it protected Keith Lee and Swerve, who I think both have a lot of fans behind them. Swerve is a lot of fun to watch.
And like you said, they played well off of each other. A lot of combo offense that was kind of fun, using Keith Lee's size. Both teams had that dynamic, the size of one big fella and the speed, athleticism of the other.
You're right.
Both teams worked really well, but I actually, even though they're the newer pairing, I thought Keith Lee and Swerve, their tandem offense was a little bit more like of a mainstay, of a staple in this match. I was actually really surprised by that. But in the end, Team Taz came out on top. I think Ricky Starks looking like $1 million in this one in his hometown, worked to perfection. And I really, I'll be honest, I love seeing Hobbs get a big pinfall there. I mean,
that is big. Hanging in Keith Lee with that big power or spine buster. Oof.
I mean, that's a big deal, man. With the way Keith Lee's been booked since coming on the scene, I don't know, man. I like how they're playing this one too. I mean, there's a lot. This is another story that feels like it's just begun, right? This is not the end. This is the beginning.
Yeah, and that's going to work for me, and I think it'll be really well thought out. And end game, I'm still not sure where they're going to go with it, but that's okay. It's going to give us some great programming, and hopefully we see someone dethrone Ricky Starks because they'll make him lose his mind for sure.
You like that?
Some good stuff featuring Team Taz and obviously Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland as well. So as we saw him on Rampage versus our guy QT Marshall, pick up the victory on that, the Sports Entertainer of the Week. So main event time, Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor World TV Championship. Titles on the line and title changed hands. And I mean, I see you wincing over there. It almost is like I'm still wincing too because I knew this was going to be a physical match, but I had no idea that they were going to trade. I think I'm going to go back, rewatch, and give it a count. I will safely say at least 80 chops were thrown in this match. At least 80 chops.
SPD, I don't know.
What do you guys think in the chat? How many chops do you think were thrown in this match?
SPD, as a guy who winces over blood, like this, there wasn't bloodshed in this match, but there were moments in this match that were harder to sit through, like than some of the more violent, brutal, like bloody affairs that we've seen. This was just like one of those where like if you've ever taken a chop, if you and I have exchanged chops in the past, if you've ever done that with some friends where you've done the Ric Flair chop battle and you sat there and you watched this match, there were moments where you're just like, oh my God, just stop. Oh my God. Like it was brutal in the best way I could possibly say. This was a match where I wanted to, like anybody who's a casual wrestling fan, I was like, dude, just turn this on. This was like just brutal. These two guys, you talk about strong style. Neither one, it felt like they were both enjoying that back and forth.
They did not even flinch. They did not.
No man was backing down. Yeah, no man was backing down.
This is by far. Both guys deserve the award from SPD as chop of the night because the end result of their chests, just the beat red, bleeding, and both
Suzuki's
guys were absolutely. It was like
brutal.
Adrenaline. The adrenaline was pumping because they were just taking dishing. It was insane. Samoa Joe and Suzuki were just absolutely tough as nails with those chops. And because honestly, like when you and I have been in chop battles and myself and, Cecil as well. Yeah. I feel like, sometimes my hand hurts worse than my chest.
You could see Suzuki's hand at one point looked like it was bloody because of how red his hand was. It was unbelievable.
You need your hand more in the match. Like, yes, your chest is going to hurt. It's going to knock the wind out of you. You're going to be raw.
You're right.
But, like, your hand, after just delivering so many chops, like, you're going to need to do the holds and flip and, all that. So, oh, man, it's a brutal move. And it was quite the SPD special of an episode because you start with an awesome chop battle, an awesome match.
Good point.
End with an awesome chop battle and an awesome match. But this one was quite the match and quite the storyline told throughout it. But it was just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, and we've seen Suzuki.
And I loved how they went back to the chop battle later on. Suzuki said
multiple
times. One more time. It was so good. I was actually, I'll be honest with you, I know Samoa Joe. I knew Joe was going to be a bad dude when he stepped foot into AEW. I've watched enough Samoa Joe to know I love Samoa Joe. I am so down with Samoa Joe. This was the best, and we've seen Suzuki in the past in AEW. This was my favorite showcase of Suzuki. His toughness was on full display. This match was fun to watch. It told a great story where both guys were proud. We're not backing down. You could tell, like we talk about iron sharpens iron. You could tell both guys enjoyed the test of might that came between these two strong, proud guys going at each other, dude. This was a badass match, man. You got to catch it. If you missed this one, you got to catch it. Brian, I know you're in the chat here. You're a West Coast dude. You got to go and watch this match, man. Absolutely unreal performance by both guys. And it made me consider wanting to take Suzuki as my performer of the night because of just how impressive his offense was and how he was able to take Joe's chops. But when you become the new ROH TV champion, added to his long legacy of title reigns, Samoa Joe, baby, my top performer. Unfortunately, the celebration was cut short
in a big way.
At the end of this one. Unbelievable. This guy, this is the size of this man was just.
It reminds me of Great Khali in WWE. I mean, it's easy to give that comparison, but this guy just literally barely even pushing the top rope down to go over the top and makes Jay Lethal look like, freaking Marco Stunt.
Sanjay Dutt was if Sanjay Dutt was standing up in this picture, he would still be just above the guy's belly button. I mean, this was pure power on display. Clearly,
it's the first true giant that we've seen, really. And I mean, we've had some big guys, obviously, Brody Lee, Eric Redbeard, other ones, but this one is
nobody
true,
like this.
Yeah, Lance Archer's a huge guy. No one like this, man. So Lethal, this side of Lethal, I thought it was so funny when he opened up the box and gave him the bird. I thought that present was so clever. I didn't expect that. I honestly did not expect that, and I thought it was so clever. So
I agree.
It was pretty funny on that way to end the show. And so it's one of those, cliffhangers. Obviously, you want to end the show on a happy note as the team Babyface winning the title, get a title celebration. But now we have something more to looking forward to. The new champ to get his retribution, whether that be on AEW television or Ring of Honor stuff, with that belt. So I think you're adding so many different layers to AEW programming, cross promos with this Ring of Honor partnership, as we're going to see on, is it Rampage or Battle of Belts, another, Ring of Honor match. And so I'm liking it. It's adding more and more layers. And like you said, Samoa Joe earned your top performer of the night with his battle test and his title win, and then CM Punk earned my top performer of the night. First time I picked him, I believe, in a while. But just the way he put on a long match versus a tough competitor and fought through an injury, or he just sold it really, really well, and he came out on top on it. And so CM Punk definitely deserved my tip of the cap for top performer of the night.
I can understand it. I felt like Joe, that match with Suzuki was I am going to go to bed thinking about that one, and I'm going to be thanking God that I didn't have to take any chops from either one of those guys. And I love the way that the show ended, because, I mean, how many times have we talked about it? Every time we see Jay Lethal on AEW television, we always say we want to see more of him. So having him immediately in a program with Samoa Joe for the ROH TV title makes a lot of sense to me. Adds high stakes, has two guys, Jay Lethal, very charismatic dude, very entertaining, going against Joe, who's absolutely no nonsense, going to punch you in the mouth, slap you across the chest, and choke you out. I mean, it's a great pairing with Dutt kind of as the annoying, not like manager. Really works. I thought that Joe's. AEW's had a lot of big debuts, and I think there's, everybody could say, "Oh, Bryan Danielson, man, the guy's still like prime of his career." CM Punk, the guy has been so over, but Joe is one of those guys when you look at it as like, I don't know how WWE dropped the ball on this dude. That there were moments.
So unique
There were
guy
moments
too.
when it felt like he could have been the man when he was in the feud with Brock. It just felt like there were moments when he could have been the absolute man, and it feels like
You're
AEW
right.
is going to correct that problem really fast. He looks like he is going to be the man in AEW television.
I sure hope so because I'm a big fan of Joe as well, and I know you are on that. So Joe. Everyone, wrapping up Dynamite Download episode 80. I can't believe it's been all the way to episode 80, and we hope you guys enjoy what's up and coming for the week for AEW television. It's going to be fantastic stuff with a live Rampage at 7 p.m. on Friday and a Battle of the Belts next day. So 3 days of television on AEW. I don't know if it's for you guys, but I see Crayfish still kind of lost connection. But we want to wrap things up for the night. Thank you guys. We love chatting with you in the chat. Short and sweet tonight here at Dynamite Download. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And thank you so much for joining us. And it's all about the boo.